What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Jimmy Mullen podcast. Today, I'm joined by Jeric Brual. How are you?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing well, Jimmy. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm not sure when this one will go out, but right before the holidays, things are getting a little crazy. But I'm doing good.
That's good. We haven't spoken to each other in forever, so
Yeah,
this will be a great time to catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. So to get started, I guess let's tell the world who you are and what you do.
Yeah,
in case
sure.
they don't know who you are.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Jeric. I'm 22 years old, and since 2011, I've been a content creator. I film and edit YouTube videos, not as much as I used to, but I'm still involved in the space as a freelance video editor. I graduated earlier this year from NYU with a bachelor's in film and TV, and nowadays I'm the producer, host, and editor of a podcast called Post Podium. I really enjoy doing it, and actually one of the reasons I wanted to be on Jimmy's podcast, aside from him being a great host and all, is because I want, of course, yeah, is because I wanted to experience what it's like, being on the other side of the mic. And so, as much as I enjoy interview content, it's nice to be able to, let loose a little bit and not have too much prepared ahead of time. So, before anything else, thank you, Jimmy, for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you.
Yeah,
on your platform.
No problem, dude. Anytime. I was thinking about all the people I could possibly do a podcast with, because when I started, I was like, wow, there's a lot of people I could and then I thought about you, and then you reached out to me, so I was like, yeah, let's fucking do it, because there's a lot of stuff that we could talk about, because you've been in a lot of places, done a lot of things, so especially more recently, so we go back as far as 2012. I think. Yeah. So just over
Sounds
10
right,
years in a little Skype group of a couple of YouTubers, and we played a lot of Mario Kart and stuff like that. I've had some of those other people on the podcast already, so just another piece of that pie today. That was so long ago. Feels like
It was. I barely remember anything about it.
Yeah.
But the joys of youth.
Yes, yeah.
being 12 years old with the 3DS, the latest console at the time.
Yeah.
And getting to play online Mario Kart with complete strangers, but also enjoy the same thing as you did. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, I want to talk about your YouTube channel a little bit.
Sure.
Because you've done all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Especially years back, I remember seeing all sorts of videos you were making. You've done gaming, you've done sketches and video essay style kind of things where you talk to the camera for a couple minutes about a certain topic. I've experimented with that too. You do a little year in 4 minutes compilation at the end of each year. I've always really enjoyed those. Little bit of music in there.
I guess so. Yeah. Bring up some old demons there, Jimmy. But, it's true to the narrative.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you about passion fruit, which was a little thing you were doing for a while.
Yeah.
So what was that all about? It was more of just a thing to talk with your friends, just about stuff you do and things like that.
So it's kind of similar to what you're doing now with the podcast. So in the summer of 2019, for my 19th birthday, I bought a new camera for myself, and it's the one I still use now. I forgot the exact model, but
it's a nice
one
camera,
of my goals. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if it holds up now, but it should do its job. But anyway, at the time, I wanted to do something creative with the camera. I wanted to embark on something that I've never done before. Work on some project that would, give my resume a little boost a bit, because back then I believe I was out of my freshman year of college, and I hadn't really done anything film-wise yet, because in your first year as a freshman, you don't really get to do much in terms of filming. They put you in the introductory film classes at NYU, so I didn't really have that much experience in my portfolio other than the short film I made to get into the school. So my idea for a series was to interview some of my friends who were in college or were doing something that I thought felt interesting, ask them about like, oh, why did you decide to pursue this, or what do you see yourself doing in the future in this career? Just some questions about like not necessarily like philosophical, but
Right.
stuff that to get people watching and them excited about their future careers. I thought it was really interesting. I got to learn a lot about several people that were close to me, but I didn't necessarily know until we got to like talk about it. So, for example, I interviewed my friend Jeff, and he's actually a fitness influencer nowadays. But at the time, he was just getting started with his like fitness journey.
Okay.
I don't think we brought that up as much, but we talked mostly about his like chemical engineering degree at Rutgers and like how he was like working on that. But nowadays, he's a fitness influencer on Instagram. Jeffrey Gonzalez, if you've seen him.
Okay.
And I interviewed my
Shout
friend
out.
Camille. Yeah. He was also majoring in engineering at Rutgers. I interviewed my friend Holly. She was doing a degree in, I believe, musical theater to become like a teacher for musical theater. I interviewed my friend Dylan, who is in charge of the YouTube channel Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything. He created a channel like 4 years ago dedicated to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, and the channel like blew up.
Oh wow.
And so I asked him like, oh, what's your motivation behind this, and like asked him a couple questions about the anime and why he likes it so much, so that sort of thing. So yeah, just different sorts of personalities, and getting to know these different facets of each of my friends was just really enlightening, and I'm super proud that I got to do at least 5 episodes. The original goal was 10, but unfortunately things just didn't work out, but I'm still proud of the work I managed to do at that time.
Do you see yourself doing anything like that in the future, or
In the future,
maybe bringing it back
in the near
or...
future, I don't think so. I'd love to, as much as I'd love to. Everyone's just so busy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've come across plenty of issues
if I'd have to
myself.
do that, if I wanted to bring it back, I'd prefer to have it be done in person.
Right.
But with everyone in different locations,
Mhm.
and if I were to do it remote, it wouldn't be the same. I feel like standing face to face, you have that sort of
Yeah.
connection between you and a guest.
100%.
And I think that was one of the highlights of Passion Fruit, getting to sit down with somebody at their house or at my house to talk about something. I think there's something special in that like face-to-face connection that you don't get from being remote on like Discord or Zoom or whatever.
Yeah, that's yeah, I've had plenty of struggles with that myself. Like I've had a bunch of time, like I've talked with like so many people about doing this, and it's the only thing in the way has just been scheduling, or they've been away at college or something. But I'm trying to take this opportunity of like having a bunch of them home to make as many as possible,
For sure.
and like spread them out. I'm gonna talk. At this point, 1 year anniversary episode has been out and all that, so I talked about all that in that one. But yeah, I've had plenty of instances of that. But yeah, I talk about. I can't even speak. I talk. I talk a lot about that kind of stuff too, because like a lot of these people, even like, you know, with the pandemic and all that, and I moved out of my hometown, I haven't seen these people in like 2.5, 3 years, so it's like really good to catch up with them and like talk about what they're doing in school and all that. And I'd love to do more of that. So yeah, that's really cool. I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, I like the concept of this.
Yeah, it was a lot of finessing. I remember my setup was really scuffed. I had to use my new camera and my old camera to set up like a dual camera setup, so like I could film me and the person at the same time. I also recently bought lavalier mics, so I had like one mic connected to my phone to record audio through like a dongle.
Ooh, okay.
Because I didn't have like a wireless transceiver. So I had to like finesse it a little bit, and then I had somebody else hooked up to my laptop, so it would record audio straight into my laptop, like on the side.
Oh, okay.
So it was really scuffed. I tried my best, but I think I did well with the materials I had.
Yeah, that's wow.
The struggles of being an up and coming filmmaker,
Yeah,
I suppose.
I haven't even bothered with the dual camera thing myself, because I knew it was gonna be like a struggle. Plus, the camera I use has like a 30-minute timer on it.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah,
Mine
so
too.
I have to
Yeah,
get
that's
up
always
every
a problem.
30 minutes,
And the battery always dies.
yeah, that
Like,
too. I've had
it's
batteries die. I
ridiculous.
have 3 batteries that I swap out though.
Same, exactly.
Yeah, like, but you have to, because it's like,
Yeah. It's so weird.
when you're recording for that long. What else? Yeah, like I have other cameras I could totally do it with. It's just a matter of, I'm pretty sure those have timers as well. Like my old camcorder has like 25 minutes or something like that. So it'd just be a constant like having to get up, and like if like one day I get a team, like that's a different story. that's easy, and they can move the camera around too. Like it'll put more emphasis on things. But I mean, I think I'm doing good with what I have now. What else did I want to, in regards to your old stuff? I saw a lot of vlogs you made. You've done a lot of traveling and meeting lots of really cool people and stuff. You went to the UK and visited Bailey.
Yep.
That was really cool. I remember seeing that video. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. I'm sure Bailey talked about it when he was on the show. But yeah, we met 5 years ago. We met around the same time. I met Jimmy through the same
same
Skype group. Yeah, so we're pretty much all interconnected. And my family was traveling to London and Paris for summer vacation, and so I said, "Hey, I'm in the area. Let's do this."
Oh, yeah, it sounded like, it looked like a lot of fun. Like even just like meeting people like you've been talking to for years, and then like actually meeting up. I have an online friend. He's like a half hour from my house at this point. We met like
practically neighbors.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I got him on the podcast, and I was like, "You might as well just come to my house." So he did, and yeah, that was really like full circle. Like it just felt great. Another thing I had up on here was about some YouTubers and celebrities that you've met, because I know you've met a lot of people. Like you went to VidCon at least once, and who do you think are some of like the coolest people you've met?
Oh man, there's a long list, Jimmy. And I can go like way back as far as 2014.
Hey, whatever floats, man.
Okay, sure.
Go for it.
Because I was actually, I told you this last night. I was actually compiling like a list of like celebrities that I've met by going through like old photos in my Google Photos album.
Yeah.
And I met a fair amount. So I guess we'll start this segment by like talking about going back as far as 2014. So okay, so in 2014, I met Aaron Cybertron Zhang. For those who don't know, he's a YouTuber. He creates competitive Pokemon content focused on the official VGC format that the Pokemon Company uses for tournament play. He wasn't famous back then, but as of now, he has about 200,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 50,000 followers on Twitter. He was a really big inspiration for me playing like the official Pokemon VGC format. He was like one of the greatest players at the time. Now that VGC has been more popularized in recent years from the releases of Sword and Shield and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, there's a lot more better players than Aaron right now, but his YouTube channel serves as a very good educational source for anyone who wants to get into the game. So I got to meet him when I was, I believe, 14 years old. So
That's
that
awesome.
was really cool. That was at the Pokemon World Championships that year in Washington, D.C. And at that same event, I actually met Junichi Masuda, one of the founders of Game Freak.
Oh, that's amazing.
The developer for the core series of Pokemon video games, video game designer, and now chief creative fellow at the Pokemon Company. He was supposed to go on stage at the World Championships for the closing ceremony, but as manager or point person or whoever was asking him to, like, okay, we got to hurry up, man. We got to like close out the ceremony. He said, no, let me take a picture with this kid, and that was really nice of him to like go out of his way to like take a picture with me. But yeah, it was a really short interaction, but I'm super glad.
I mean, you met one of the head people of Pokemon. That's
it's a really scuffed picture because I think it was taken on like an iPod or iPhone 5, but it exists in my photo.
It
album,
exists.
so.
It happened.
It happened. Pics.
I want to knock
or
that
didn't
off the
happen,
bucket list. Going to one of those Pokemon championships. I've seen tons of stuff like for those over the years, and I'm like, these all sound like really cool. And
next year is in Yokohama, so
I definitely can't make it all the way out to Japan. But next time it's in like somewhere close to New York, maybe.
I wish it was in New York, because all these years that it's almost always been domestic. I mean, in recent years they I think the last one was in London. It's usually almost always domestic in the United States, and I'm surprised they haven't gone to New York.
Even if it's not
Boston,
in New York, something closer.
Nashville, they've been to San Diego, they've been to Hawaii, everywhere but New York, which is weird, but I don't know. So let's see, who else do I have here? Moving on to 2016. This is the year I went to VidCon, like you mentioned previously. I met a couple of people, including Nathan Zed.
Shout out to Nathan Zed.
You know him, right?
Yeah, I love his videos.
Yeah.
One of my
So
favorite
I've
people.
been following him since 2013, and it was when he won a video contest hosted by Jax Films, and the winner would receive a ticket to VidCon that year. So he won the contest. He made a fake movie trailer out of Jax Films' long-running series Your Grammar Sucks, where he reads YouTube comments, tweets, and Facebook posts that like have really comically bad grammar. So from there, Nathan started doing video essays, and to this day, he still makes them on his channel. I think his most recent video is about the movie Avatar, because he's like the #1 Avatar stan right now.
Yeah.
I think he was big on Vine back when it was at its peak. And I think as of today, he has over 800,000 subscribers on YouTube and over nearly 500,000 on Twitter. So
if he had stayed active, he'd probably have millions.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I love the content he produces. He doesn't like put it out as often, but when he does, it hits.
I'm even thinking about like, I don't know, like 5 years ago when he like came back after not uploading for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like around like the end of 2016 or something. And then I think like ever since then I was like hardcore viewer. I bought like probably 3 good enough hoodies, 2 shirts.
Yeah, I think I have
he's
one
liked
as well,
a couple
somewhere.
of my Instagram posts of me wearing them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely forgot he had that merch up. But yeah, I have a good enough hoodie as well. I wore it a couple of times throughout college. And yeah, he actually was one of the inspirations for the video essays that you mentioned on my YouTube channel. I like took inspiration from like the way he like ranted and stuff like that. So I really like the stuff he produces, and I'm glad that he's still relatively active. I got the cast of Smosh when they were at their peak.
Oh man.
Yeah. So as of
That's
today,
crazy.
they have about 2.5 million followers on Twitter and over 25 million on YouTube. I actually unsubscribed and unfollowed them because nowadays it just doesn't hit as good anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, way back when Smosh was like the epitome of YouTube comedy. Smosh was also one of my inspirations as a 13-year-old trying to make a YouTube channel and trying to make comedy. They were like one of the channels that I watched all the time when I was younger. So it was really cool to get to meet Anthony, Ian, who else was there at the time, Shane Top, Noah Grossman, Olivia Sweet, Courtney Miller, all those
Any
people.
of the guys from Smosh Games?
Funny you mentioned that because I actually ran into Sohinki at the same event. I don't think he was at like the photo like op at VidCon, but I think I ran into him in like one of the expo halls, so I took a selfie with him.
That's awesome.
I had a meet and greet with Chester C. He's a musician who frequently collaborated with Ryan Higa back in the day. Did a couple songs with him. I don't think he posts as much anymore, but he was still pretty big at the time.
They gotta renew the license for Nice Guys and put it back on Spotify. I went to go listen to it like a couple months ago and it wasn't there, but I saw it was still on iTunes.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. I've seen Nice Guys pop up a few times on my TikTok For You page. Like, do you remember this song? And it makes me feel so old. I'm just bro.
I know. It sucks. It's the worst.
I'm just like, man, I was like, man, the good old days. But anyway,
It's been over 10 years.
who else did I meet? Matthew Frederick, also known as Matthias. So
Oh,
for those
okay.
who can remember, he was the winner. He was the winner of the second season of Internet Icon, which was basically American Idol, but instead of a singing contest, it was an online video making talent competition for amateur YouTubers, and it was created by Ryan Higa. Today, he's the face of the YouTube channel Dope or Nope, which has over 7 million subscribers. Now, I'm not subscribed to the channel, but I think what he does is he reviews like strange products from like e-commerce sites and he tests their usefulness or something like that.
Yeah.
Not,
I don't think I've
not
ever
necessarily
watched
the
him.
content that appeals to me. Yeah. not
I
necessarily
know
the
who
content
he's
that
like one of
appeals
those
to
like
me,
people
but-
I know who he is, but like I never really watched his videos.
Yeah, he had some really good comedy sketches back in the day. So yeah, I met him. Who else? I ran into Daystorm Power, in the halls
Wow.
of VidCon. He's a
What a
YouTuber
name.
and rapper back in the day. I don't know how often he posts now, but he was pretty popular back then. Megan Camarina, she's a YouTuber and Twitch streamer, also known by her alias Strawberry17, and she was on 2 seasons of The Amazing Race.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was a big fan of
I remember
hers.
I remember seeing her pop up in like the I don't know, like Disney Channel hosted some Mario Kart thing, and she was in that. That's what I know her from.
Yeah. I think I went to a panel that she was like hosting, and I took a picture with her like after the panel, so that was cool.
Okay.
Erin Wayne, she's the former senior director of community and creator marketing at Twitch, and since 2021 has been the global head of player community for Riot Games. She goes by her alias Aurelian. I was a fan of hers back when she collaborated with Jordan Marin, otherwise known as Captain Sparkles, who at the time was one of the most subscribed Minecraft YouTube channels of all time. Today, he has over 11 million subscribers, and this was before, your Dream, George Not Found, Tommy Innit, Tubbo, Rambo, Sapnap, all those, streamers that blew up during the pandemic. Captain Sparkles, and I guess by association, Aurelian, was one of the OGs alongside, your Dan TDMs, Jerome ASF, Ant Venom, all those Minecraft YouTubers. So that was pretty cool. I got to meet her. I almost met Casey Neistat. I went to a panel that he hosted called Small, Rising, and Established. This was back when he was at his peak, when he was known for uploading daily vlogs to his channel. He quit doing that a while ago, but actually in a recent video he explained why he stopped and also why he misses it. So I almost got to take a picture with him, but it was cool getting to hear from him. And he was actually the inspiration for the vlogs that I did on my channel. I actually blatantly ripped off his style, I'm not gonna lie. But I thought that style was just so cool. I'm kind of guilty
of that too. It's dude,
his style of editing was just so captivating that I don't know.
It made the video so much better.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah. And even watching those vlogs as a nostalgia hit, I'm just like, wow, this format is just so good. No matter what mundane, boring things that I did as a 15, 16-year-old, it just seems so interesting by the way I set up my camera and put together the shots. It's just, oh my god.
He really changed the standard with vlogging. For
sure.
I feel like, because I feel like after he was in his peak, I think every YouTube vlog I saw was just like Casey's.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, this is a little ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Every vlogger I was watching at the time, either they used the same music or they took his style almost entirely, or put their little spin on it, but still had a lot of heavy inspiration from Casey.
I don't blame them.
But I was like, this is I don't either. I did the same thing. I don't put out vlogs much nowadays, but when I do, I still kind of do the same thing, just out of habit, because I feel like it just makes the video better.
Exactly.
I love you, Casey. Thanks for the free stickers.
Moving on to 2017, I met Camila Cabello. She's a singer-songwriter. I think she's a coach on The Voice right now. I had a phase when I was obsessed with Camila Cabello, and I still am to some extent. This was a little less than a year after she announced she had quit being a part of the girl group Fifth Harmony.
Yeah, I remember seeing these pictures of you with Camila.
Yeah.
It was
she decided to pursue a solo career, and this was less than a week before her hit song Havana featuring Young Thug went to radio. There's actually a lot more to this story, and it's actually wild how this turn of events happened. So should I tell it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, buckle up, folks. This is a wild ride. Okay, so what I'm about to tell you comes from a Reddit post that I made 5 years ago detailing all this, and I wrote it immediately after I came home from Rockefeller Center. So 95% of this is accurate. So the Today Show has this system where if you register online, you can enter a raffle and potentially win what's called a fan pass, which basically gives you higher priority in the admission line for their artist live shows as part of their summer concert series. These concerts are open to the general public, but depending on how popular the artist is, you may or may not get in, since the concerts, are open to the general public. For
Only
example,
so much space.
Yeah. For example, if BTS were performing, you probably have to start lining up 3 days in advance if you want to be near the front. So about a week before the concert, I got an email saying that I won a fan pass, which was actually good for 2 people, but that'll be relevant later in the story. I was super stoked about it, but the problem was that because the Today Show is an early morning program, like Good Morning America, you have to be in line by 6 a.m. or so. The day before the concert, which was a Thursday, I noticed on Twitter that fans started lining up outside Rockefeller Plaza around noon, but because I knew I had a fan pass, I felt okay about my position. Unfortunately, later that afternoon, Camila tweeted that some people already in line would receive meet and greet wristbands, which would have priority over people with fan passes like me. And I had no idea how many they were being given out, so I was feeling a bit worried at this point. Like I said, my fan pass only increases my priority in line. It didn't mention anything about meeting Camila, and I knew that. I had no expectation of meeting her whatsoever. So I went from feeling good about my position to feeling, a bit bummed because I probably have a terrible view of the stage, even though I had a fan pass. So a Camila fan on Twitter, I called her Julie in my Reddit post to protect her identity. DM'd me that same afternoon, and we talked about how crazy it was that stands were already lining up. And in the end, I offered her my second fan pass, and she was only general admission. So Julie got to the line at around 8 p.m., and there were only about 30 to 35 people in the general admission / fan pass line, since they were merged until the morning of. And I attempted to sleep early enough so I could wake up at like 2:45 in the morning the day of the concert. So I woke up, ate breakfast, checked in with Julie, and she told me a new line formed across the street next to the Rockefeller skating rink for the lucky people who were chosen to meet Camila, but the general admission / fan pass lines were still merged. Anyway, my mom, being the amazing person she is, let me skip school and drove me to Journal Square Path train station in Jersey City.
Those were the best days.
Yeah.
Being allowed to skip school.
She drove me at like 3:30 in the morning. I boarded like a 4:15 train to 33rd Street. By the time I got there, it was like 4:47, and I missed the subway going to Rockefeller Plaza. So I actually ended up running a mile to Rockefeller Plaza. It was quite exhausting. I would not recommend running a mile in New York City at 4 in the morning. Yeah, exhausting and cold. At first, I thought the line was starting outside of Nintendo World, but it actually started behind the stage next to a bakery. Apparently, the SNES Classic Console Edition released that day, and people were lined up for it. And they were like waiting in line for it. I found Julie, and she was hanging out with some other fans in line, including a girl, let's call her Maddie, and her mom. So at this point, it's like 5:15, 5:30, and around this time, Camila's manager, Roger Gold, comes out to the street to post a Snapchat of like the lines of people waiting to get into the stage area. And so he approached Maddie and her mom and noticed these cool custom like t-shirts they made that looked like unofficial Camila merch, and he was so impressed that he felt like giving meet and greet wristbands to Maddie and her mom, but he had to go back to the studio before he could give them wristbands. He said he'd be back, but he never showed. So at around 6 a.m., security began to usher Julie, Maddie's mom, and myself into the stage area, along with the other fan pass holders. After going through the body scanners, we saw that we weren't too far from the edge of the catwalk, maybe like 10, 20 feet away, so I was feeling all right. Camila comes out, crowd goes wild, does a rehearsal / sound check, all is good. Surprisingly, during the live show, I got on camera a lot, watching a few clips online, so that was pretty cool. First time I was on national television.
That is cool.
And it wouldn't be the last, hint, hint.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be the last.
It wouldn't be the last.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Camila was so sweet to her fans. After every song during the sound check, she would take selfies, sign autographs, interact with everyone when she wasn't busy. So after the sound check concludes, it's like 7:15. We wait until 8 a.m. for the real performance. Concert ended at around 9, and security began to flush everyone out of the stage area after Camila, posed for selfies, signed stuff, etc., etc. So after the concert, Julie and Maddie had a lead on where the meet and greet was located for people with wristbands, so I followed them to the NBC Experience store behind the stage area. Security over there shooed anyone who didn't have a wristband, but Maddie and her mom persisted, saying Roger promised them wristbands, but he just never came back. So at this point, Julie and I are staying as close as possible to Maddie and her mom, saying we're with them, and they were totally cool with us tagging along. Some guy who worked at the NBC Experience store came over and said that unless Maddie and her mom could contact Roger, again, Camila's manager, there was no way we could meet Camila. A bunch of other fans were bummed out too, and they were just waiting for a miracle in front of the store, including myself, Julie, and Maddie. So about 90 minutes later, it's around 10:30 in the morning, a group of girls comes around the corner, and they suddenly had wristbands when they clearly didn't before the last time we saw them. The three of us asked where they got them from, and they said, oh, Roger is giving them away. So we rounded the corner, entered the Comcast building on West 50th Street, and we looked for him. Once we were inside, we found out that the NBC Experience store wasn't the actual location of the meet and greet. It was actually just a holding area for fans to wait before security escorted a few groups at a time to another shop inside the Comcast building. We found the exit of the NBC Experience store just when a security guard was walking a new group to the meet and greet location. So what do Julie, Maddie, and I do? We blend into the group and try to be as least sus as possible. Yeah. So at last we reached the meet and greet location, but unfortunately the security guard at the store was checking for wristbands. Julie and I were caught and taken out of line, but Maddie was discreet and fortunate enough to stay in. Julie and I at that point contemplated our options. I was seriously ready to just leave because it wasn't worth getting escorted out, by security. the guy from the NBC Experience store who originally told us to get in contact with Roger spotted us and was watching us like really closely just in case we were like threats to public safety or something like that.
Yeah.
But suddenly, against all odds, Roger walks out from where Camila is taking photos and into the shop itself. Julie and I ran into him by accident and he told us to remain put while he was looking for his wife in the shop. I honestly thought he was going to ditch us at that point because, you know, what manager would want to deal with his clients' crazy fans like us?
Yeah.
But he actually came back. And we politely explained how we were just looking for him just in case he had any wristbands on hand for the meet and greet. Turns out he was giving them away if people knew who he was and could find him. Obviously, fans would know. And he said he was totally cool with giving us wristbands if he had extra. And this is where I was faced with a moral dilemma. In Roger's pocket, he had only one wristband and a white slip containing instructions on where to get wristbands, which is useless because all of them were gone. If he found an extra, he promised he would give it to whoever didn't take the one he was already holding. Julie said I could take it, but damn, man, she really should have taken it for herself. I took the wristband. Security let me back in line, and the security guard who took me out of line the first time looked at my wristband thinking it was already cut, when it clearly wasn't. The sticky wasn't even peeled off yet, and so it's like shook and didn't even get to put it on. So once it was my turn, I took off my backpack, gave Camila a big hug. I was in complete shock. It did not feel real at all. A professional photographer took our picture, and I told her how much emotion and soul she puts into each of her songs and how much I was looking forward to her debut album. The woman at the store exit gave me a signed picture, and I left. I lost track of Maddie after she got her picture taken, but Julie eventually came out with a signed picture in hand as a consolation. Now, let me make this clear. I felt really bad for Julie. Like, she'd been waiting since 8 p.m. the night before, only to get a signed picture and a selfie with Camila's guitarist, who we saw earlier in the street, but not with Camila. I gave her the fan pass, but I felt like I could have done more to help her get a picture with Camila. I don't know. I just felt bad, but I also felt overwhelming joy because I got to meet Camila when I wasn't expecting to do that at all.
That's awesome, dude.
It's a great story to tell as an icebreaker for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man, all right, that was a long-winded story. Who else did I meet this year? Let's see. Jessica Graff and Cody Nixon. I actually met them 2 days after Camila's Today Show concert. They were on season 19 of Big Brother, which finished airing less than 2 weeks before I met them. And this time they were competing in season 30 of The Amazing Race as a duo. They actually won that season as well. I think I remember The Amazing Race tweeting that they were filming in Washington Square Park and they were asking for fans to come watch. So I went. I was free that day. Needless to say, the park was filled with Amazing Race and Big Brother fans. I was fans of both shows at the time, so it was like the best of both worlds for me that day.
I've never watched The Amazing Race or Big Brother, but I've heard good things about both. I have friends that have.
I don't watch Big Brother as often just because it's kind of like a chore to like watch it because it airs like 3 times a week, and whereas The Amazing Race is like 1 time a week. And there's just so much drama in Big Brother, and there's not as much drama in The Amazing Race. Plus, you get to see these amazing like locales in The Amazing Race that I just prefer it nowadays over Big Brother. That's why I said I was a fan of both shows at the time.
Yeah, right. I just never watched them. No real reason. I don't know. I also don't really watch TV.
Reality is not for everyone. I know that too.
Yeah. I just remember seeing like Total Drama Island did like a their own parody of The Amazing Race. I think it was like, what was it, like the Redonkulous Race?
Yeah, I saw that.
Something.
It was pretty good. I liked it. I'm also stoked for the Total Drama reboot, I think.
I hope it's good.
Yeah, I really hope it's good too.
I hope it's good. It's another new cast.
Yeah.
So like,
we'll see.
Last 2 times they did that, it was kind of Maybe I'm just biased though.
Yeah, that show was my childhood. I think it partially inspired my like for Big Brother and The Amazing Race growing up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that was my introduction to reality. Let's see. 2018. I met Camila Cabello a second time.
I was gonna say, didn't you meet her more than once?
Yeah, I did meet her more than once. So the second time was in 2018 when she was touring her debut album. I met her backstage at a meet and greet. I think I actually skipped school for this concert as well, but just because.
As you should.
Yeah, but just because. But just because I can meet Camila, my ticket didn't guarantee that I have a good view from the audience since Terminal 5, the concert venue, was standing room only. So
Right.
since I normally got home from high school at 4 p.m. and it roughly takes about an hour to get to New York City from my house, I figured it'd be worth it to take the day off and spend it waiting in line. And it was. I got some good photos and videos and had a great time. Natalie Negrotti, she's also another Big Brother alum. She was on season 18 of the show, which aired in 2016. I think she was promoting a clothing brand at a pop-up event in Soho. Yeah, so it was a free event. Soho was within walking distance from where I was living, so I said, hey, why not? Emily Warren, she's an NYU Tisch alum and graduated from the recorded music program in 2015. She's best known for her work as a songwriter for many famous artists in pop music, including Backstreet Boys, Dua Lipa, Shawn Mendes, The Chainsmokers. It was a low-key...
She's got a stacked resume.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was a low-key, chill Q&A session, mainly targeted for students who were in the same program as she was, but the event was open to all NYU students, so as a fan, I skipped one of my classes to attend.
Nice.
You starting to see a pattern here, Jimmy?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I did things like that too. I get it. I skipped school for what was it when Splatoon came out on the Wii U, and like 10 amiibos came out that day.
Oh my god.
I was at Toys R Us at like 10 in the morning.
Oh my god.
In a line with probably like 100 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, the things we did back then. Let's see. 2019. Rachel Zegler. So
Okay.
this was before she became famous for her role as Maria in the Steven Spielberg adaptation of West Side Story, which came out in theaters December 2021. I started following her on
Right.
Twitter after she went viral in December 2018 for posting a video of herself singing Shallow by Lady Gaga in an empty auditorium at her high school. The tweet got over 300,000 likes and has over 80,000 retweets, but that's actually not the reason she was cast in West Side Story. I believe she auditioned for the role of Maria before that video of hers went viral, so I guess people just made up their own narrative to make it sound like Spielberg casted her on the spot. Anyway,
Okay.
she tweeted that she was starring as Fiona in her high school's rendition of Shrek the Musical and encouraged fans to buy tickets and attend. Now, there was no guarantee that I'd meet her, but with any theatrical performance, usually the cast comes out after the show to greet family and friends before they return backstage or go home. I met Rachel in
Yeah.
the pouring rain on a Friday night, but I actually came back 2 days later with a gift that I meant to give her the first time we met, but it arrived late. The second time we
Okay.
met, it was bright outside and the weather was much better. It was a
That's good.
hand-drawn frame picture of her and Ansel Elgort, who played Tony in West Side Story, that I commissioned
Okay.
from an artist on Fiverr. But
Oh, wow.
she probably trashed it by now, if I'm being honest, because as it turns out, Ansel Elgort isn't exactly the best human being.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I won't go into details, but you know,
Yeah.
there's a reason why he hasn't been in the public eye for a while.
I got this man on my wall,
Oh, that's
and
unfortunate.
I'm like tempted to like
Oh.
put tape over his face
Yeah.
and Kevin Spacey's,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't know. I also don't want to ruin the poster because
Valid.
I love that movie.
Valid. Yeah, Baby Driver. Great
One of my
movie.
favorites.
Just unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rachel's nice, fantastic vocalist, great stage and screen presence. I can't say enough good things about her. Actually, one of my mom's friends has a daughter who either went to school with her or had the same piano teacher as her. I forget
Ooh.
the exact circumstances, but
Small world.
yeah, I thought that was pretty cool knowing that there's only 2 degrees of separation between us.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, so
That's really cool you got to meet her though.
great actress. I think she's going to be in the next Shazam movie. She's going to be Snow White, I believe, in a live action film.
Oh yeah.
So she has a bunch
Wow.
of big roles lined up
Wow, yeah. That's cool. You got to meet her right before all that.
before she blew up. Yeah, I put my stocks into her. I'm putting my stock into her career. Saying I knew her before she was famous.
Yeah, I knew her before she was Snow White.
Yep.
That's
Let's see what
awesome.
else. Josh Held, John Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg. They are the creators of the hit Netflix series Cobra Kai, and
Oh.
yeah, previously
I've yet to watch it.
It's
but
so
I've heard
good, man.
things.
You gotta watch
I
it.
know.
There's
I'm-
5 seasons.
I'm behind
out.
on everything.
Oh my god, such a good series. I watched it when it came out on YouTube Premium back when that was a thing.
Yeah, I remember they were like really pushing that on YouTube. Right?
It was one of the hidden gems.
like-
It was one of the hidden gems of the
Yeah.
platform. But I'm so glad they found a home at Netflix because I think that skyrocketed its popularity.
Yeah, I remember hearing so much about it right after they dropped it on Netflix.
So previously, Josh was a writer for the Hot Tub Time Machine movies, and John and Hayden were
Okay.
writers for the Harold and Kumar film series. So
Oh,
these
those
guys
are-
are like frequently collaborating with each other.
Those are
already.
classics.
Yeah. They were in New York along with Ralph Macchio and William Zabka doing a press tour for the second season of Cobra Kai. And I actually got to ask them an interview question about balancing an ensemble cast as, like, you know, writers for television, as one would expect from someone, you know, studying film and TV. After the interview, as they were all leaving, Ralph Macchio actually wished me good luck on my education, so that was pretty cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Let's see. Scott Rogowski. He was the host of a live mobile trivia game called HQ Trivia back when it was at the height of its popularity in 2018. Yeah.
I miss HQ.
Yeah, I do too. Well, I don't know about that. I retract that statement. He actually knew who I was once I told him my name, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah, you were like playing that a lot.
Yeah,
Now, that's coming back to me now.
Yeah, I met him in Greenwich Village when he hosted a pop-up shop selling vintage sports jerseys and T-shirts from his personal collection. This was after he quit being the host, so he was pretty much like doing his own thing. I didn't buy anything, but it was great getting to meet him, and it was pretty cool that he recognized me. Nisha Charles, she's a Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter and record producer who's actually from my hometown. And has written and produced songs for a bunch of hip-hop artists, including Jay-Z, Beyonce, Cardi B, SZA, Kehlani, Megan Thee Stallion, just to name a few. Nisha is also actually an NYU alum, but unlike the Emily Warren event, hers was packed full of music business students wanting to hear about, you know, her time at NYU and what she'd been up to in the industry. After her talk, I got to tell her that we shared the same hometown, and we took a picture together. So
that's cool.
Julia Michaels, another Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter who has written songs for pop artists, including Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, Britney Spears, Gwen Stefani. Her song Issues peaked in the top 10 of record charts in multiple countries in 2017. I met her outside in the pouring rain after she finished a concert at Webster Hall. That was actually the second concert of hers I had been to. Earlier in the year, I watched her perform live at the Bowery Ballroom further downtown, but I didn't get to meet her then. So that was pretty cool.
Okay.
She had some really great music. I really liked her EP that she put out that year. So big fan. Haley Steinfeld, famous actress and singer.
Oh, Haley Steinfeld.
She next to Camila. Next to
Camila. She was in my hometown. Like,
really?
Not too long ago.
What
she was at one of the. I don't know. She must have been filming something. She was at one of the beaches. They saw the sign in the picture.
How long ago was this?
And like one of my friends sent it to me. I was like, what? What is she doing there? Nothing fucking goes on there. I know they use the town for a couple like different TV shows and stuff.
You said it was at a beach.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, and if it was long ago enough, I think the last scene of the last episode of Dickinson, which is the Apple TV Plus series that she's in, there's a scene where she's at a beach and on a boat. So perhaps she was filming that.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
And see if I recognize it.
She's best known for her roles in True Grit, Pitch Perfect 2 and 3, Dickinson, like I said, Arcane on Netflix, Hawkeye on Disney Plus, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and coming soon, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So she's got a lot going on. She also has 2 EPs. Her highest charting single, Starving, with electronic music duo Grey, featuring EDM legend Zedd, peaked at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 2016. I met Haley when she was doing press for the first season of Dickinson alongside the other cast members, and I got to ask her a question comparing her role as Emily Dickinson to Nadine Franklin, a character she played in the 2016 movie Edge of 17, which, by the way, it's a really good movie.
Very good movie. Go watch that movie.
So good.
It is.
Woody Harrelson, Haley Steinfeld, what a duo.
Yeah, that movie was incredible. The first time I watched it, I'm like, how is it this good? Like, this movie has no business being as good as it is.
Right? Like, good coming-of-age movies. You don't see those that often, coming-of-age films.
I've seen a lot of coming-of-age movies, and there's only, like, a small portion of them that I can say are, like, incredible films.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Getting to ask her a question, and then Camila Cabello for the third time.
The third time.
Yeah, the third
Shit.
time. I met her 3 times in 3 consecutive years. This time it was at an album signing event at the Sony store near Madison Square Park. She just released her second album and was signing copies for anyone who purchased a physical copy. I skipped one of my evening classes for this, which turned out to work in my favor because the professor was absent. I think the sub let me leave without hesitation. So that was cool. We weren't
That's
allowed to take
good
pictures, but a professional photographer did take an unflattering photo of me, so that was cool, I guess. But yeah.
Hey, it's still cool nonetheless.
That is the end of my saga with Camila Cabello, at least for the time being. I don't know when I'm going to meet her again. I was actually supposed to see her when she was touring her second album at Madison Square Garden, but that was when the pandemic settled in and everyone was getting refunds for all the concerts they were scheduling for 2020. So unfortunate. There. We're nearing the end here. 2020, Francesca Scorsese. When you go to NYU, especially Tisch, where I graduate from, you're bound to run into someone's famous person's kids. It just so happened that I shared a class with the daughter of one of the greatest film directors of all time, Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, I've seen her TikToks.
Yeah. I didn't really get to talk to her since we weren't in the same film crew, but it's all right. After my commencement ceremony, my mom was actually mad that I didn't become friends with her, and while that is kind of my fault, I really didn't feel like being a clout chaser, you know? It's great to make connections, especially as a film student, but
exactly,
knowing we didn't have many opportunities to talk at all, I didn't really feel the urge or need to approach her. Now, I don't know anything about her or who she is as a person. I mean, for all I know, she could be super friendly, but our paths just happened to cross. I guess it just wasn't meant to be.
That's okay.
That's so.
That's cool. You got to go to school with her.
Yeah.
Though.
In some universe out there, I'm on a film set. Yeah. She's the director, and I'm the AD for a next feature.
Yeah.
Somewhere out there in the multiverse, somewhere.
That would be sick.
And then the last one I have here is in 2021. I met Mayim Bialik, who is an actress and neuroscientist who's best known for her role as Blossom on the NBC sitcom of the same name in the 90s. And today she's the executive producer and stars in the sitcom Call Me Kat on Fox and is one of the hosts of the game show Jeopardy. And those are all my celebrity interactions.
And that's a perfect transition. Because you...
I set you up for that.
Yeah.
I got you, Jim. I got you.
Because you were on Jeopardy.
Yes, I was earlier. Well, I don't know when this is going up, but earlier in 2022, February.
What was... I gotta... Like, because I remember you, like, making some posts saying that you were going to be on, and I was like, wait, like, for real? Like, and then and then you were leading up to it, and then I went on TV and I see your face. I'm like, this is so crazy. Like, this is like, I was like, I know that guy. Like, I think I told like everyone, like in the house, I was like, yo, I know that guy. He's on Jeopardy. Like,
I'm flattered.
Yeah. I want to know everything, man. Like, what was the process of like getting selected? Because I'm sure like it wasn't like the most flawless, easiest thing in the world to like. Yeah.
Let me pull up I actually have a note in my note. I have a note in my notes app of like the entire timeline because I forget like the exact day of how this all happened. But basically,
it's a lot of information.
Yeah, the whole process from start to finish, from when I first took the online tests to when my episode actually aired, was a little over a year. October 2020. So this is like the fall of my junior year, my first semester as a junior. I took the National College Championship online tests via email. I was signed up for Jeopardy's newsletter. It said, hey, we're auditioning for the next college championship. Take the online test today. And it's a test that you take on Jeopardy's website. It's 50 questions. It's not multiple choice. You have to like type out the answer. So you just try to do your best on that. And if you do well, you get a follow-up email saying like, hey, you did well on the first online test. We'd like to invite you for a second online test that'll be proctored by someone over Zoom to make sure you weren't cheating. So I passed the first test, and so I took the second online test in, December 2020. So I took it on Zoom, and then I got a notification like a couple days later saying that I passed that one, and I was invited to the last stage of the audition process, which was an interview and mock game, which I did in January 2021. So in this Zoom call, you're basically face-to-face with a contestant producer along with other people who are in the contestant pool, and you play a mock game of Jeopardy using like a pen as your buzzer. And they call you on random, and just they know you're smart at that point. They just want to see that you know how to keep the flow of the game going, like you're not slowing down the gameplay, because they know you're smart. You obviously passed 2 tests. This is just basically like a behavioral test. So we played a mock game, And after that, they interview you, ask you a couple questions like, oh, where are you from? What would you do with the money? That sort of thing, just to get a feel for your personality. Just make sure you have one and you're not like a complete like robot.
Yeah. Right.
That happened, and I didn't hear anything for the longest time. After the interview mocking, they said, hey, you're in the contestant pool for the next 18 months. If we want you, we will text you or email you. Actually, around that same time, I did the adult test, like for the regular syndicated show, as well. But 9 months later, September 2021 rolls around. I get a text from one of the contestant producers saying, hey, this is so-and-so from Jeopardy. We saw that you applied for the college championship. Are you in? And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in. I mean, I didn't say that obviously, but I told him, oh yeah, sure, totally, I'm in. Let's work this out. So I get a call the next day with the contestant producer. We arranged logistics and confirmed my eligibility. I said that I'm still a college student because at the time when I got the call or in text, I was in my final semester as a college student. So it came like at the perfect time.
Yeah, that was a great way to end off your
exactly. It was like
college
the perfect
years.
way to round things off. Otherwise, I would have been put into the adult contestant pool. So we worked out the logistics. I signed a bunch of paperwork back and forth. It was a bunch of, like NDAs, releases, all this complicated paperwork, travel itineraries to get me to LA because Jeopardy actually flew me out to Los Angeles. I didn't have to pay anything out of pocket, which was super nice of them. That's not typical for Jeopardy contestants. Normally, if you're on the syndicated show, you have to pay out of pocket to get to, Los Angeles to film.
Yeah.
But because this college tournament was on national television, because normally Jeopardy's on syndicated TV, so in one area it could be on ABC, whereas in another area of the country it could be on NBC. That's called syndicated television.
Right.
National College Championship would be on ABC exclusively, airing in prime time. So this was like a big deal. So because it was a tournament, they flew out all the contestants, 36 of us, to Los Angeles. They paid for our hotel and everything, and I was like, oh they didn't fly me in first class, but they put me in a 4-star hotel, which is honestly the bougiest hotel experience I'll ever have. It was it was a super amazing. Bougie hotel. Holy, it was really nice. So, yeah, that happens. And then for the next 2 months, I'm just like studying my ass off, trying to prepare for Jeopardy. And then we filmed the weekend before Thanksgiving, so November 19th to 23. So yeah, that's basically the timeline.
So when you were on set.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was going through your mind? Was it like did it feel like easy, or was it like, were you under a lot of stress, or like how did it go for you?
Actually, the stressful part wasn't actually being up there on the stage. The stressful part was the build-up, because between when I signed the paperwork saying that I'd be on the show, and when I actually traveled to Los Angeles, I was trying to cram as much stuff that I knew as possible, trying to brush up on the stuff that I was weak on, trying to make sure that I had the subjects that I knew down pat, and also studied some Final Jeopardy wagering theory just in case the game came down to math. So that was really nerve-wracking. I bought some study guides. There's a book out there called what was it? Secrets of the Buzzer, which basically is a guide to mastering the Jeopardy buzzer, because half the battle is knowing the information on Jeopardy, but also the other half is knowing how to buzz correctly or know the right technique, because if you're not getting in on those clues, you're not going to win. When I got up there on stage, we were the second day of the quarterfinals taping, and I think we were the first game after lunch. So I had just come back from a lunch break, and I was up against Raymond Goslow, who is from Kennesaw State University, and Lucy Greenman, who's from the College of William and Mary. Going into it, as we got to know each other and chat and socialize beforehand, Raymond was one of the people that I didn't want to go up against, just because his major was relatively one that I'd never heard of. It's geospatial sciences, which is basically maps and topography. And he was I think at one point he mentioned he was really dexterous, because he did Rubik's Cube competitions. So I felt like he not only had an edge in knowledge, but also an edge in reflexes.
Yeah, he answered a good portion of those questions. Mm-hmm. I remember. I was like, "Oh wow, this guy's."
Yeah, and trust me, when you look at when you look at the box scores, Jeopardy releases box scores now on their website, which basically has all the stats of how many times people attempted to ring in versus how many times they actually got in. Raymond had the most buzzes in our game. I think I rang in on 30 of the 57 available clues available in the game. I think Raymond had around 40 or so. So not only was I outclassed on the buzzer, I was also outclassed in knowledge, and I knew that. And I was perfectly okay with that, because if I couldn't defeat Raymond, there was no way I was getting past anyone in the semis or finals. So if you ask me like, oh, how did you feel knowing you lost on Jeopardy? I'm totally fine with it. I mean, it was a great experience. I lost to a worthy opponent. Raymond got second in the tournament overall, and I couldn't have lost to a better opponent, honestly.
Yeah, I just thought it was cool that you were on. I didn't care whether or not you won or you lost. Of course, I'd be happy for you if you won, but I was just happy that you were there. Like I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it'd been a lifelong dream of mine. I mean, I've been applying for the show since I was a teenager for the teen tournaments back when those were a thing. What else? I wrote my Common App essay to get into college about Jeopardy, so it's been a part of my upbringing for the longest time. And 4 years or 3 years of playing how many trivia apps, including HQ Trivia, also helped me in my preparation process. So that definitely helped sharpen my skills a bit. But yeah.
Would you say it paid off?
Yeah, I think so. I think I went in knowing what I knew and knowing what I didn't. I was especially weak in literature, and there wasn't really anything I could change about that. I mean, I could learn like authors and connect them to book titles, but other than that, I couldn't recognize the plot of, like, let's say Jane Eyre or Pride and Prejudice if you like gave me a Jeopardy clue about it. I could only connect like the authors and book titles.
What did it feel like representing NYU? Because I mean, it's a big school. So yeah. I mean, like, were you nervous about that, or like?
A little bit, yeah, because knowing that I lost in the quarterfinals is like, oh, what are people at NYU? Yeah. What are people on campus going to think about me, knowing that, the NYU rep lost in the quarterfinals? But knowing that it's a big school, I didn't really care as much. I told the school like a week before so that they could like do the normal amount of press. They put me on the front page of their website, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that stuff. But I think the best part about getting to represent NYU was that I got to speak at my the university-wide commencement ceremony at Yankee Stadium. So before the actual commencement ceremony, there's this thing called the pre-show, and during the pre-show, they basically take a bunch of NYU students who did some cool shit while they were an undergrad, and they're basically interviewed and asked about like what they did and like the impact that they had. So I was one of those people because they caught wind of my story and they were like, oh, hey, Jeric, what was it like getting to represent NYU? And they asked me the same questions you're asking me right now, but like, oh, what was like being in the show? And they played a clip. Yeah. They played a clip of me on the Jumbotron and threw it up there. So that was pretty cool, getting to speak in front of the class of 2022 and get to share my story.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And you've done a lot since then as well in regards to Jeopardy, because now you host a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, my intro, I mentioned my podcast, Post Podium. Originally, it was meant to be like a small personal project to like talk to my fellow, college championship alum and ask them about their thoughts about like certain games and whatnot. But eventually, it evolved into something much bigger, where I had the opportunity to interview Jeopardy contestants outside of the college championship. I know right now I'm in the process of like editing 4 episodes that I want to put out before February. So that's really cool. The Tournament of Champions actually just wrapped up, so my coverage on that should be coming soon to the pod. But getting to sit down, debrief with contestants who've gone through the same thing that I have and have experienced the same feelings. It's a unique experience being on, a game show like Jeopardy, being vulnerable out there on a game show, especially when people might question your intelligence a bit if you didn't know something on the show, whereas they got it from like the comfort of their own homes. I think that can be really scary at some points, and also very overwhelming in the age of social media, because there's a bunch of people across Twitter and sometimes Reddit that might come after contestants for the most insane reasons and ridiculous reasons. So getting to sit down, getting some perspective, and having them share exactly getting to have them share their part of the story is one of the reasons why I do Post Podium, and it's the reason why I keep continuing to do it, because I think something like that, I think a podcast like that has room to exist, especially when I don't think any other podcast has done that sort of thing before.
Yeah, it's a pretty niche part of podcasts. I think like it's a pretty niche topic, and it's pretty specific, and I think a lot of podcasts really boom because of their gimmick or whatever it may be. But yeah, I think that's really cool, and especially since you said now it's expanded outside of the college alum that you competed against or were a part of the tournament with. And yeah, I think that's sick. I'm really happy for you, man.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, of course. You got anything else you want to shout out or anything, or anything else you want to bring up?
Trying to think of what we haven't mentioned. We covered celebrities. We covered Jeopardy. We briefly covered my YouTube channel history. I mean, not really. I guess I could share what I'm up to next.
Yeah, what do you got down the pipeline?
Yeah, so starting next February, I'm starting a new job. That's actually not video related. I'm gonna be moving out to Wisconsin, of all places, for a new job. So yeah, that'll be a very interesting new chapter of my life. So for the next month, I'm gonna be scrambling, trying to find an apartment and trying to like get situated. But it's an exciting time. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully I'll get to continue work on the side as a freelance video editor, and hopefully still be involved in that space as well.
That sounds good, dude. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
With all of that. I've never been to Wisconsin.
Me neither.
I've heard good things. So, I mean, yeah, best of luck to you, and of course, congratulations about Jeopardy and everything else that you've been doing. It's been great talking to you.
For sure.
Where can the people at home find you?
So you can follow me on pretty much all the social medias, on Twitter at the Jeric Brual for who knows how long, until Elon makes the platform irrelevant.
Yeah.
Instagram at Jeric Brual. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jeric Brual. I'm basically Jeric Brual on most social media platforms. But yeah, I think on all of those you can find my link tree, and there's a bunch of links there as well. So those are the main ones: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and yeah, you can go check out my content from there.
All right. Well, it's gonna wrap it up for this episode, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed it. Be sure to check out the podcast on social media: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You guys know the deal. If you're listening on audio platforms, leave a rating, write a review. Let me know what you think. And yeah, be sure to check out Jeric. Check out his stuff. I'll leave links in the description. And yeah, with that said, thank you all so much for tuning in. And we'll see you next time.
Give this man 5 stars. He deserves it.
Yes! Thank you. Take it easy. Peace.